Hello, everyone. My name is Stacy Stube. I am from BROMO and Elsa Fitzgerald Studio, and we are lucky enough to have Erin Draper here with us today. We are launching the Digital Designer Series, and the whole goal is to sort of have a chat with different designers around the world and talk about some things that they're facing within their business, but in particular within that online space. Thank you so much, Erin, for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about you and your business?
Yeah, so I have a small clothing business here in Baltimore. My clothes are really soft, comfortable, but also very unique. They have a lot of color blocking, draping, athletic steaming. I use a lot of eco fabrics and fabrics that are somewhat local. A lot are made in New Jersey, New York, so they don't have to travel far to get to me. Um, I sell my clothes online and usually at in-person events. So when I started out, I would travel around to art shows, and I'll usually do like 12 to 13 of those per year and build up my customer base that way. Obviously, at the moment, I'm selling more online, but I sell both ways.
So I wonder, those clients that you built over those events, are they now shopping with you online instead of reaching out to you via those events?
Yes, they are. I was a little apprehensive at first about how it would go, but I've been really reaching out through email, and that's been working great, especially this past month, probably biggest shopping month of the year. It's the emails that I've collected from them at the art shows that I normally sell at have really proven to um, turn them into great online customers.
Okay, great. And so in your opinion, what do you think a digital fashion entrepreneur is?
I think that being a digital fashion entrepreneur means that you have a greater reach, but you also still have to find a way to stand out among many because you're competing with everyone who could possibly be online and also still find a way to make a personal connection with your audience. So for me, it's a balance between reaching as many people as possible, but also finding personal touches like a video where I'm talking to them, email, responding to them just in a friendly conversational way so that I'm still making a connection in some way.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. And now I feel like we've become content creators. Outside of being designers, we're having to curate these interesting stories and making them still personal. Because, when you're standing in front of someone, it's a lot easier to, I don't know, build a relationship with them. But now you sort of have this digital wall that's
Yeah.
sort of dividing you, but it's also connecting you. So it's exciting to see how we can effectively do that.
Yeah, it's so true. And I've learned to sometimes have to let go of being a perfectionist. Like, I don't have a professional camera at the moment, but sometimes you have to make do with whatever you have and just put things out there to reach people and not worry if it's not perfect, because if anything, that will make them feel more like you're a real person and there's a real person behind the business.
Yeah, and can you tell us about some challenges that you've been facing at the moment and how you found ways to overcome them?
I've had some challenges of having not being able to have people over at the moment. So normally, it doesn't sound like much, but there's a student who often works for me 1 day a week and does cutting. There's a seamstress who I work with, and right now they're working from home. So I'm not able to give them pieces to turn around as quickly. I'm sort of having to like guess more in advance what to give them because we have to transport things back and forth. And then I normally do a lot of the sewing myself, but I'm doing even more of the rush sewing myself. So definitely logistical challenges at the moment. With online selling, there's also something we discussed with online selling. There's also the lead time. So I've put in place a 1 to 2 week lead time on my online orders, and I explain on the website and in an email they get after the order that that's because we make many of our pieces to order. So my way of solving this lead time issue is just to like be upfront and honest with them and explain that we do it because we're a small business, first of all, and also because we don't want to create all this inventory and waste that we won't be able to use. So a small business like this can't handle just having tons of pieces that end up going unused, and I also don't want to throw anything away.
No, I think that's what's very fascinating about your business is that it's somewhere between, it's not bespoke, but you are doing sort of agile light manufacturing within your own studio environment. And I think that creates a sense of exclusivity that, you know, someone know that your clients know that this is something that's not going to be made into 1,000 or 10,000 units. You tend to, I think, change the colorways and mix it up that way.
Yeah, I tend to continue a lot of my styles, and I don't just like retire them each season. As long as so many people still like them, I'll keep making them, and I will add new colors when I run out of one, or if it's really popular, try to reorder the fabric again. But I do keep a lot of the styles for a long time. And also, like you said, since it's very small production and personal, we can make little changes. Like if somebody wants a panel to be black instead of blue, I can do that and customize small things for the people who order from me.
Do you have some advice that you would give to, you say, a startup fashion entrepreneur? The space is different. I think it's way different than maybe when you and I started and you had this sort of wholesale model, and then you were really looking to get into that department store. But with the rise of social media, what advice would you even, let's say, give your younger self if you were starting your business today?
Well, a few things. I would definitely tell myself that my email list is really important. Make sure that I build that in person and online, because that's like such a good backup to have in any situation, whether it's an emergency or just regular selling. I would also tell myself to not be too cautious about trying new ways of selling. I started out with some in-person events that were really, really small just because, of course, I was afraid to take the leap to something bigger. I wasn't sure if I would fit in, and also the booth space can cost a lot of money. But when I did it, it paid off. So I would tell myself to not be too cautious about whether I'll fit in to this or that mode of selling, and just go for it and try them.
What do you think about the potential for a digital trade show? What that sort of could look like for fashion entrepreneurs? Do you think that's something that could be possible? And if so, what would that look like to you?
I think that it could be possible. I actually participated in a digital art show, not exactly the same as a trade show because it was retail, not a wholesale show, but I think that the customers did really enjoy being able to, they dropped into like these little digital rooms and spoke to us. And that could be something interesting to do as a trade show. There were some logistical difficulties just with people understanding how the platform worked. So you'd have to make a choice between, is it going to be a live person-to-person connection that you would be there all day, or would people make appointments with you, or would it just be something where they scroll through your images and your line sheet and everything on the website? But I do think that it could work. And I also participated in a small event called Art Party that gathers a few makers at a time who do handmade work, and sends out an invitation for people to come see us speak and then ask questions after over Zoom. And that worked well. So it's also the possibility of doing it in smaller groups. I feel like that went really smoothly.
Okay, great. We're thinking of doing a digital trade show, but not, I guess, not so much a trade show, but that context for the fashion entrepreneurs, and filming you in your own little booths, and then almost like you're talking to the audience, but then it's just a directory that people click through. So then if they click your name, they look and see, and then they follow you to your Instagram and
yeah, I
those
think
other
that's
places.
great.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Great. And so in terms of that wholesale model, are you sort of moving away from that and going more sort of direct to, or have you ever done a bit of that wholesale?
Yes, I have done some wholesale, especially when I was starting out, because to me that was just the traditional way to sell, and that was what you do. You go to boutique to boutique, and um, I worked with a rep for a little while too, but I just found that my in-person sales were and my direct sales were a lot more successful. So I haven't made as strong an effort. I'm still once in a while selling at boutiques, and then I'm part of a wholesale website that markets your work to boutiques, but it's not something that I'm putting as much of my energy into anymore. I think, unfortunately, even before the pandemic, um, a lot of boutiques were struggling a little bit more and a little less likely to take a chance on a new handmade designer who they've never heard of. So even though I connected well with boutique owners and I would get small orders here and there, it wasn't really sustaining my business like the direct sales were.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Erin, for chatting with us. Where can people find you and shop your collection?
So you can find me at erindraper.com. Feel free to message me through the website if you have any questions. Everything is, all my pieces are on the website, and you can also join my newsletter and get a 10% discount if it's your first order.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom and experiences, and we'll look forward to keeping up with you and seeing how your journey unfolds.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.